What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2, Episode 5, Compromised. So let's go ahead and get the problems out of the way, because they didn't really do this in the first season. And so I was thinking maybe this show will be the one time travel show. You know, Timeless is doing well so far, but it will be the one time travel show that actually handles time travel fairly well. Because, you know, there weren't many mistakes as far as time travel was involved in the first season. But unfortunately, this one had quite a few. First of all, obviously, the one you know I'm going to talk about, Martin getting stabbed as a young person, and then all of a sudden, old Martin having a stab wound that he's bleeding out from. I mean, it doesn't get much more simple than this. Like, this is, how can he be stabbed as a young person and then have a stab wound as old Martin? Like, that doesn't. And at the same time, too, I don't know. It would be one thing if, like, as soon as Eobard Thawne, as soon as he convinces Dark to go do that, it'd be one thing if Martin was like, all of a sudden he's got a stab wound and he's like, he's dying. You know, he does die. That would be crazy if all of a sudden, like, he just drops dead right there. And so, like, what happened? And so now they have to go and they're following Damien Dark, and then all of a sudden they see Martin is walking up to Damien, and then that's when they step in and save Martin then, and they're like, okay, so now we can save the old Martin, and sure enough, that saves his life. But to have it be where, oh, young Martin gets stabbed, now old Martin is stabbed, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't fit within the flowing timeline. As soon as Eobard Thawne changes the timeline, that change should start to set in. He should start to feel the stab wound because time is changing. On top of that, the other problem I have with this episode, what the hell is Sara thinking at the end of this episode? I mean, really, first of all, I understand why she wants to kill Dark. You know, it's part of what I think this season is doing well so far, showing that without Rip Hunter, the team doesn't have a guiding force. And even though Sara is a great leader, this is the thing that's going to cause her to slip up as a leader and getting involved with Dark, because she has a personal vendetta. She wants him dead. So I don't mind her, you know, wanting to kill Dark and ruining a mission because of it. My problem is at the end of this episode, because she couldn't think of any other way to get close to him to steal whatever it was she was trying to steal. She's like, I'm going to tell you everything that's going to happen in the next however many years. You know, tells him that his plan's going to fail, tell him that his wife is going to die, tell him that he's going to try to kill his own daughter. Tells him everything that's going to happen. Really? You know, it's one thing to say that to somebody who doesn't know you're a time traveler, but to tell him, first of all, the fact that you saw him 40 years ago and you haven't aged a day means he knows something's up, and then you tell him, oh yeah, I'm from the future, let me tell you everything that happens in the future. He's obviously going to try to change that. You know, like, in my mind, I'm thinking, you realize you're probably changing history right now. Like, he's going to think of some way now. He's going to be watching his every move. He's going to be thinking about it, be like, okay, so me trying to build this underground city, this is what's going to get me killed. And he's going to start to battle with Oliver, and he's going to realize, oh, so this is how I die. He's going to realize that my wife is going to be dead soon. He's going to be thinking about all of this because you told him about all of it. And sure, Eobard Thawne is changing time, but this is like, you're giving the bad guy, here you go, this is everything that's going to happen. You're just delivering it to him on a platter. It felt stupid to me. It felt like a decision that Sara should not be making. It's one thing to mess up a mission because you're trying to kill Dark. That's one thing. It's a personal vendetta. I get it. Nowhere in your right mind, Sara. Nowhere in her right mind would she ever think, oh, you know what? I'm going to tell him everything that's going to happen in the future because that's a good idea. Even if she wants to kill him, that would be the last thing from her mind is telling him everything that's going to happen. You know, like, it doesn't make any sense, and I'm really frustrated by it. So that's my two main frustrations: the time travel mess up, and then that thing. Obviously, the rest of it was really good. You got Eobard Thawne becoming a bigger part of the episode. You know, now they know that it's a speedster that's the time traveler, and I mean, it's a really good setup. You've got Dark infiltrating the White House, becoming a member of Reagan's staff, at the same time that they're about to sign this Cold War treaty, or the treaty to end the Cold War. And so it's kind of like you've got this tension building up. You're like, oh no, what's going to happen next? What's he going to do? Is he going to not make them sign the treaty? Is he going to kill them both? Like, what's going to happen? So it was good intensity. I like the story behind it because it's interesting. And on top of that, just having Damien Dark be the one that's popping up in time, it really makes for a good villain. I mean, I liked him as a villain last season of Arrow. He was probably one of the few things about the last season of Arrow that I actually kind of enjoyed. He wasn't a great villain, but I like some of his reaction to things. I like how he says some of his lines. I mean, it's just really diabolical and evil, and you can feel it whenever he's speaking. So I really enjoy that. But I mean, as far as the stuff, actually, I thought about another. I was about to say I like the stuff with Vixen and Haywood Steel, but then I realized another thing that I didn't like about this episode. They have the JSA thing, and it was good. It was interesting. However, they brought this one, the Obsidian is his name. They brought him in as an old man because apparently he's the only member of the JSA left. And at the end of the episode, you see Dark walking away. You see him start to fly towards him, and you see Vixen go, "Todd, Todd." I'm just like, I wonder what's gonna happen. Dark tries to shoot him. Oh, he can't be shot. Oh, Vixen, there you are. Oh, you're just gonna stand there for a second while Dark slowly aims his gun at you. I wonder what's gonna happen. Oh, Obsidian got shot. I'm shocked. That one just, I don't. It felt like they just sort of threw him in there for some reason. I mean, ultimately, what ends up happening, how they tied him into this, it gives Vixen, like, she has one last moment with him. And so this last moment makes her realize, oh, maybe our team was more social than I thought. And then she starts to tell Haywood about his grandfather, commander or whatever. That's the only reason he was in here, was so she could find an old member of the JSA and have a reason to tell Haywood about his grandfather. That's it. No other reason for him to show up. He gets shot. Vixen realizes how much she misses the team, and then she tells Haywood about his grandfather. It felt pointless. I feel like you could have done that storyline without just randomly bringing him in and throwing this cliche storyline in where he's going after the bad guy, somebody else pops up, whoever the bad guy is about to shoot them and then dive in front of the bullet and take a bullet for him. And they didn't even kill him. Like, I was like, oh, he's probably going to die, and then he doesn't even die. It's like, what was the point of that then? But anyway, the other storyline, not saying, going back to that storyline for a second, not saying that I didn't like what was going on between Vixen and Haywood. I like the fact that they brought more emotion into the JSA. I just hate the fact that they did it in such a cliche storyline. I feel like they could have done it in a better storyline. And then the final thing to talk about, of course, is Martin seeing his younger self again, but also getting to see a younger version of his wife. It was a very emotional episode for Martin, and right after an emotional episode for Jackson. So I just like the fact that they both sort of go through similar circumstances. Jackson went through an emotional episode where he got to experience the oppression of slavery back during the Civil War times, and then in this episode we get to see Martin going through his younger life and how much he's starting to realize that as much as he appreciates Clarissa now, back in the day it was not the same story, and you can see that from his younger self. And I'm actually kind of wondering, like, maybe something changed, because it seems like he doesn't remember being like that to her. But both times we've seen him, he's been very wild, he's been very crazy. It doesn't seem at all like the Martin we know. So I wonder if something actually changed because of something they're doing with the timeline, or if this is just he doesn't really remember that side of him because all he remembers is Clarissa. So I'm curious to see, but I love at the end whenever he's talking to his younger self and saying, the only thing you're going to remember, the only thing you're going to want to remember at my age is Clarissa. Like, you need to hold on to her. I really like that. I think it was a very well told story. It's interesting to see kind of both of them love science. You see his younger self saying, you understand where I'm coming from, but Martin, the older experience, saying, look, I know where you're coming from, but you don't know what I know. You don't understand what I know about your future. Trust me when I say you need to hold on to her. So I like that storyline. I like what they did with it. I like what they are doing with these characters. And it's all good. It's all enjoyable stuff. It's emotional stuff at times. And not that it's all like emotional and sometimes sad and sometimes heartfelt. They still have Mick and Ray trying to work together, which is freaking hysterical. And some people may not like the humor. I love this team up. As much as I love Mick and Snart working together, those two are they're a great team. But Mick and Ray is just like, they so don't work as a partnership that it actually makes it hysterical to watch. I mean, I could, like I've said before, I could listen to Mick call Ray, "Hey, haircut." I could listen to that all day. It's hysterical. Every time he says it, I'm just like, haircut. That's awesome. Like, Mick has become, honestly, probably one of my more favorite characters on the team. And he was like the bottom of the barrel last season. The only reason he was brought on the team in the first place was because of Snart. And honestly, that was the only reason why I even cared about him, was because he was Snart's partner. So the fact that they brought him in, made him a more important member of the team, and now are kind of pairing him up with Ray because Ray needs guidance right now because he's lost. He doesn't know who he is. And Mick is kind of lost without Snart. So you kind of see the correlation. You see how they work together. I really like what they're doing with these two characters. It may not be for everyone. Maybe I'm the only one that finds the humor there really funny, but I could watch them work together forever. I mean, the scene in the van was hysterical. And then turning on the radio, "I hate the 80s," and it smacks the crap out. It was awesome. So the humor is there, the emotion is there. Those mistakes that they made in this episode with the time travel stuff, with Sara really making a huge mistake and telling Damien everything, it feels like those mistakes may be part of the story. Obviously, I think Sara does it in like a fit of anger or something, and she's going to realize what a horrible mistake she made later, but I just feel like Sara is more intelligent than that. Like, she's a better thinker than that. So it just doesn't feel like it fits her character. But either way, it's still a good episode. Just those mistakes are kind of a blemish on it, and it is something to think about in the future. And of course, we still haven't talked about what changing killing the Shogun 2 episodes ago, and then all those guys that died, and then burning the ranch or whatever, and releasing all those slaves. We still don't know what those two histories affected. We still haven't heard anything about that, so I'm hoping they'll talk about it at some point. But for now, I'm enjoying where it's going. I like the fact that we're getting into kind of what Damien and Eobard are working on, and kind of what Eobard's plan is. I'm interested to see where he's going with it, why he's so focused on Damien, and why he's trying to get him to help. And obviously at the end, brings him through the time travel portal. And I'm curious to see, like, when did he get the orb that they built in season 1 of Flash? Because I recognize it. It's the thing that they built for him to travel back to his own time at the end of season 1, and then Barry destroyed it. So I'm curious to see what they did with like that orb. What did they do? Maybe since Barry didn't go back in time at the end of season 1, maybe he kept the orb and actually they let Thawne go? I don't know. I'm curious to see how time changed and why he has the orb. But anyway, it's a good episode. I'm looking forward to next week. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know. We can talk about, discuss, all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Legends of Tomorrow reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.